Hello everyone, this is me Garima Singh. Today I'll discuss this theme 12, that is colonial cities. In this chapter we will discuss about the architect style basically, as well as there are black town, white town, so what does they signify, a number of things. So let's move on to the question. We will discuss solution of this chapter, and through solution we will know about what this chapter is all about. So let's move on to the questions without wasting any time. This is the timeline, you can go through it to know the chapter in a crux form, like in which period what happened. So let's move on to the first question. To what extent are census data useful in reconstructing pattern of urbanization in the colonial context? So the process of urbanization was sluggish in India after 1800. In the 19th century. So as I said, urbanization was sluggish at that time. Like after 1800, in the 19th century, and in first two decade of the 19th century, the proportion of urban population was a very low and stagnant, which record between 1900 and 1940 a 13% increase in urban population, which recorded between at that time like merely a 10% increase in the population of the whole country, as well as the data thus collected help us in the enumeration of people according to their age, sex, caste, religion, occupation, etc. Now, second question is what do the term white and black town signify? So, the British had white skin as they were often described white and they considered themselves as a superior to other. On the other hand, the black had brown or black skin, so they were known as black. The white signify their superiority over the black due to color of their skin. The British symbolized the black area full of chaos and anarchy, filth and disease, and on the other hand, the white area stood for cleanliness, hygiene. In black area, epidemics like cholera and plague often broke out. So the British took stringent measures to ensure sanitation and public health to prevent diseases of the black area. They ensured underground piped water supply and introduced sewage and drainage system in white areas. Thus, we can say the white town were those part of colonial town where the white people lived. These towns had wide road, bracks, churches, parade ground, big bungalows, and gardens symbolized sectoral city. Like whereas the Indian lived in Blacktown was said to be unorganized and the source of filth and disease. Next is how did prominent Indian merchants establish themselves in the colonial city? So the prominent Indian merchant and traders settled in colonial cities like Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. They served as the agent or middleman for the British and lived traditionally built courtyard house in the Black Town. They centered over large tract of land in these cities and heavily made investment for the future. They wanted to impress their British master or colonial ruler or white people living in white towns by giving lavish parties during festival season and built temples to establish their supremacy and prestige in society. Then fourth is examine how concern of defense and wealth gave shape to Calcutta. So Siraj-ud-Dowla, the Nawab of Bengal, in 1756 sacked this small fort from Britishers. In this fort, the British trader has had built to house their goods. Consequently, when Siraj-ud-Dowla was defeated in the Battle of Plassey, the British built a new fort, Fort William, which could not be easily attacked. Around this vast open space was left. This open space was called the Maidan or Garamat. This was done for security reasons because there would be no obstruction to a straight time of fire from the fort against an advancing enemy army. Soon the British began to move out of the fort. They built residences along the periphery of the Maidan. This indicates that how the English settlement in Calcutta began to take shape. The vast open space around Fort William became the significant town planning measure in Calcutta, now Kolkata. Then, as well as you can write that Lord Wellesley was more concerned about the condition that existed in the city. Cities were overcrowded and had no sanitation facility. He issued an administrative order in 1803 on the need basically for town planning, set a various committee for this purpose. Open places in city would make the city healthier. As a result of this, many bazaar, ghat, burial ground, and tanneries were cleared or removed. After Wesley's departure, the lottery committee carried out on with the work of town planning in Calcutta. The next question is fifth. What are the different colonial architectural style which can be seen in Bombay city. So in the past, building were at odds with the traditional Indian building. Gradually, Indian too got used to European architect and made it their own. British in return adapted some Indian style to suit their needs. One example is like Bangalore, which was used by a government officer in Bombay. The colonial bungalow was set upon extensive ground which ensured privacy. The traditional pitched roof and surrounding veranda kept the bungalow cool in summer months. These bungalow can still be seen in the city. Other than the traditional style of decoration and building exists, the lack of space in the city and crowding led to a type of building unique to Bombay, the chawl. Then sixth is how were the urban center transformed during 18th century. So the disintegration of Mughal emperor after the death of Aurangzeb paved the way of emergence of powerful regional power. The capital city of these regional kingdom like Lucknow, Pune, Nagpur and Bardhan now became important, taking the advantage of this opportunity. Many rebel nobles and officials created new urban settlements such as Quashban, Ganj, then second you can see as well as European companies too had to set up their bases in different part of India during 16th and 17th century. For example, Portuguese like they set up in Panaji in 1570, then 1570, then British in Madras. Then these lead to the expansion in commercial activity. Town began to emerge as trading center. And third, you can say from the mid 18th century, trading center like Surat and Dhaka, which had grown in 17th century now, began to decline as trade shifted to other places. When the British acquired Bengal and East India Company trade hereafter expanded the colonial port cities like Madras and Calcutta. These new port cities began to merge as new economic capital. Then, in these newly developed cities, many new buildings were built and new occupation developed. People flocked to these cities in large number. By the 19th century, these newly developed cities became the biggest cities in India. Then seventh is what were the new kind of public places that emerged in the colonial city? What function did they serve? So the Indian found the new colonial cities as bewildering. They were surprised the new transport facility available here. The mean of transport facility which included horse-drawn carriage, tram, buses enabled the people to live at faraway places from the cities, and now they lived at some other places and served at some other places. Emergence of new public places like the new colonial city faraway places witnessed new public places such as theaters, cinema halls, garden, public etc. Beside these were club and garden houses. So function like these newly created public places were very exciting. They were an important source of entertainment and helped increasing social interaction. The people were able to express their opinion on society and government. They could also question the practice of social custom. Next is what were the concerns that influenced town planning in 19th century? So two concerns which influenced the town planning in 19th century were defense and health. In many towns, British built forts to protect their factories around fort. A vast open space was left open. This was space was known as Milan. You can say like it was other point you can quote that it was done so that there would be no obstruction to a straight line of fire from fort against an advancing enemy. Then you can write next point is like attempts were also made to improve the sanitation and cleanliness by creating open space in the city. Then next is like for this purpose in Calcutta many bazaar and ghat and burial grounds were cleared. Next question is to what extent were social relations transformed in the new cities? So um, first is like there was a big contrast between extreme wealth and poverty in new cities. New means of transport facilities such as horse-drawn carriage, trams, buses, etc. made traveling from home to work an interesting experience, and creation of public places like theatre, public parks, cinema hall provided new form of entertainment and social interaction. And new social groups were formed. People of all classes started to migrate to the cities with an increased demand for lawyer and engineer. The middle class increased, debate and discussion became popular, and established social norms and practice were questioned. Then cities also offered new opportunity for women. They choose new profession in the city as factory worker, teacher, film actresses. etc. for a long time. So women remained object of social censure. Then third is map work. You have to do in the map like major river and hill ranges, plot densities mentioned. So you will river you can mention like Ravi, Satluj, Ganga, Yamuna, Beas, Kosi, Narmada, Godavari, which are going like touch these or going through these states. Then major hills like Himalaya, Rauli, Vindhyachal, Satpura, Karakoram, and many more. So these you can write in this one. So we are actually done with this chapter, colonial cities. Here we discuss about architect style of during colonial period. That's about this chapter. In next chapter, we will discuss the next theme, that is 13 chapters. So stay tuned and listen to this chapter solution if you want to just do it. Thank you.